Facebook friends, Marianne here. I just want to take a moment to tell you guys about some exciting things that are happening this week. Oh my goodness, this is one crazy hectic week. One of the first things I want to tell you about is what Quinchao Stone is doing for the Source of Hope. It is one of the most remarkable local endeavors that I'm aware of personally that is actively going out there to try and feed the hungry in our local North Texas community. And the reason why it's so impressive to me is because they not only feed them, they actually set the tables down like they would for family and friends, serving them like you would at a restaurant, sitting down and getting to know the people, giving them the sense of human dignity that every human being deserves. Not only is Quinchao and Wesley Stone, her husband, doing this, but they also teach people things about how's nutrition work? What do you need to make sure you eat every day? These are things that many of us are blessed to have parents that taught us, but not everyone got that opportunity. And now that they're raising their own families, they don't know necessarily what needs to be given to the child. And even if they do, sometimes it's so out of their price range, they don't even know where to begin, because it's easier to go out and buy an unhealthy hamburger that everybody can eat and have full tummies than it is to really know what kind of quality produce and fruits, vegetables, meat can you get to your child. And, well, Quinchao has been known to go and take homeless families shopping and teaching them how to stretch the dollar to be able to provide what they can for their families. Not only that, but they're teaching people about how to train each other for various vocations. So whether it's cupping, which she's done for me, and my goodness, did it ever change my life around and help get rid of a lot of pain. But she also does it for many other people in need that can't afford other kinds of health care, and has also increased their quality of life. And she's teaching people how to do this process. Also, she's teaching people in the healthcare industry. How do you make hair look good? How do you do your makeup look good? All this stuff to either get a career in the beauty industry, or else to go out there and be able to help themselves look good and qualified, because whether we like it or not, we live in a society that judges a book by its cover. So some people who are trying to apply for a job, they don't normally have what it takes to look the part when they walk in and apply. And now they do, largely thanks to what the Source of Hope is doing. So I cannot tell you enough about how great the work they're doing is in the community. I will tell you that the absolutely marvelous Marva Hanks, who is just one of the most beautiful souls to have entered our city of Dallas in a long time. And I would just say, as I've said many, many times before, Dallas got brighter and better when she came to town. Marva Hanks, who has many of you who work with the Mimsy Institute know, she's a wonderful volunteer and is really helping us with our Juneteenth celebrations. And because she is so involved and really understands what it means to be a servant, to move from what she calls the servant's heart, she is going to be coming and speaking as one of the keynote speakers at the Source of Hope's Gala. And I can tell you, if you haven't ever had the opportunity to hear this woman speak, you want to hear her. She speaks from the heart, she speaks from experience, and she speaks from a place of concentrated knowledge that is rooted in the depth of love for humanity. So I cannot emphasize enough. And I know I keep saying that, but I really, really, really can't emphasize enough that you want to hear Marva Hanks speak. So she will be one of the keynoters. I'm also going to be one of the keynoters, and what I've been asked to do is speak about hope. So I'm looking forward to speaking about hope, not just as something that's outside ourselves and external, but about hope in terms of something that moves us to become the hope we seek. And to realize that sometimes when you look all around and you can't seem to find what you need, that's just God tapping you on the shoulder saying, become that thing that you're looking for. So that's what I'm going to be speaking about. So all of that is going to be happening this coming 13th on a Friday night for the Source of Hope out in Plano. And I know that Quinchao Stone and Wesley Stone and her entire team, Cordia Young and all the others, have pulled together to make it fabulous. So that's one of the big things that are happening. The next big thing I want to talk to you about is, I wish I could pronounce it better, it is NABO. Actually, I put together this whole series of things to try and capture what is going on right now. So as you can see, there's this wonderful thing that's going on for the anniversary and the 5-year anniversary with Marva and me, and I really, really, really want to see many of you there. It's going to be fantastic. Then what's also going to be happening, if you're up in New York, Saturday, April 14th at 12 o'clock p.m., I'm going to be up there speaking about how you've been given an invitation to reshape the world. And I mean that quite literally. Each of us has been given an opportunity to reshape our world and decisions we make every single day. And you have that opportunity, no matter if you're a big CEO or somebody who is just searching for your first job. The way we navigate our lives is going to absolutely define the culture that we are creating. And as I often try and tell people, we are tomorrow's ancestors. How we decide to move about and shape our world economically, environmentally, sociologically, just from our daily decisions, defines exactly what the heritage is going to be that those who come after us inherit. And right now, the reason why I'm speaking about this particular topic to NABO, which is the oldest women's business organization in the world, this is going to be their first ever international coming together. I was blessed to get to speak at their national conference in Mexico for the country of Mexico, but they have had national conferences in every major first world country you can think of, and some third world countries. But this is the first time that all those chapters are gathering the leadership together in New York. And that is going to be on the 14th, this Saturday. And the women that I've met through this organization are not to be believed. Each one of them has their own corporations. Many of them are doing things on the multi-million-dollar scale. But what a lot of them have had to do to get where they are is to learn how to fight like a man, be like a man, inherit the modalities and attitudes of very old male behavior. I'm going to emphasize old male behavior because I know many young men and not so young men who have said, let's reshape that, let's redefine that. I don't like how that is. We can change the way we work in the world. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking to these women about right now, because we can just inherit power and build power and navigate through it the way business has always been done. Or we can look with open eyes and an open heart and realize that nowhere in time have women ever possessed the kind of power that we have right now. Just like you're hearing me from wherever you are in the world. I know some of you are in Africa. I know some of you are in Asia. I know some of you are in South America and Europe and North America, and wherever you're at, you're getting to hear me. This very fact that we're experiencing this right now, this communication between you and me, that's something that didn't exist just 50 years ago, 20 years ago. Right now, the fact that we're having this empowers both you and me more than heads of state, prime ministers, kings and queens and presidents were empowered 50 years ago. Think about that. Right now, we have the power to influence through our investments, through our buying, through what we build, how we operate those businesses, and in order to change the tone of the world. So if you don't like the politics, that's fine. That's up to you. But if you want to change the world, it gets moved about in the financial sector, like it or not. So if those of us who have some means and more power than women have ever possessed in any moment in time, if you want to do something about it, this is your time to shine. This is your time to grab a hold of what's possible and make that possible for yourself and others. By keeping in mind, how are we opening doors for each other? How are we saying, if I produce that product that way, it's going to increase child labor. Maybe I should produce it the other way, because we do have a lot of control over how we supply the demand. And how we do that ends up improving lives around the world if we end up taking that upon our shoulders consciously. And the truth is, we have that responsibility the minute we have the power. A lot of people don't want to look at it that way, but that's the truth. So that's going to be the second thing. The third thing that I'm going to be speaking at, that I want to share with you all, is this is Oak Cliff Earth Day. Oak Cliff Earth Day is going to be on Sunday, the 15th, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our organization, the Mimnesine Institute, was asked by a lot of the people that have been doing Oak Cliff Earth Day, especially Libu Buchanan. I love Libu. She's done an amazing job. Those of you who've been to the Celtic Festival also know her work there. She headed that up too. But her brother, Coke Buchanan, as many of you know, has been with Mimnesine Institute since the beginning. And so she came to us and said, why don't you guys take over? However, of course, she and her team of volunteers have remained in the heart and center of helping to make that happen. And Rindle Withrow, our director for the environment, technology, science, and economics, who oversees our programs in that area, including GreenSourceDFW.org. Those of you who haven't been, please look it up. GreenSource. That's GreenSource DFW.org. Anyway, right now, many of you may not be aware, but a lot of the green writers were basically fired about 3 to 5 years ago. So many of the periodicals up here in North Texas no longer had environmental writers. And well, we hired them and they are writing right along, and they are producing incredible pieces of work that let us know what's happening in our local community, in our state community, in our national community, international community, and how it affects you right here in North Texas. Anyway, that work that we've been doing led us to connect with so many people that didn't realize they were different spokes of the same wheel. You had your social responsible investors, you had your inventors, you had your small NGOs, you had your huge NGOs, you had tiny little independent companies, you had major corporations, and everything in between. It all saw themselves as the definition of the environmental movement, but they didn't necessarily realize how they were related to each other. And thanks to the work of Dr. Philip Shinoda, we were able to bring those people together, and it continued through GreenSource DFW, and it continued through the Run for the Environment, which has grown so much that, to my knowledge, it's the largest run here in North Texas for the environment, and it brings out so many wonderful people. And this year, we are combining that with the Oak Cliff Earth Day Festival, and it is going to have entertainers, it's going to have wonderful food from local food trucks and local vendors, it's going to have artisans, so many wonderful performers, band and choir. We love you guys. You want to come to band and choir, it will make you want to dance. Speaking of dancing, Monica Green with Ecstatic Dance is going to be bringing people out there, and they are going to be participating in a Green Man Festival, which was, of course, Coke Buchanan's idea. People dressed up as the Green Man and dance their hearts out. So there is going to be so much fun going on at this place, but I'm also going to be speaking with you all, and I'm not even sure yet what I'm going to share with you, but you'll just have to come out there and find out. However, one of my closest, most wonderful friends and advisory board member of the Mimnesy Institute, Lawrence Bloom, is going to be there, and I cannot wait for you all to learn about Lawrence Bloom. He is the man that if any of you have ever gone into a hotel and seen a notice that says, in order to help save water, put your towels up on the hook unless you want to have them traded in, that kind of thing. That was only one tiny thing, probably the most visual thing out of about 50 different things that the hotel industry did, which massively changed their impact on the environment worldwide. And it all began with Lawrence Bloom. He designed it, he conceived of it, and he worked with Prince Charles to convince the rest of the hotel industries to sign on and do those very important things too. And so if you want to come and really meet somebody who has already made a huge impact on the environment on a global scale, and hear what he has to say in terms of what it means for businesses to get involved and to make that kind of difference locally, nationally, and internationally, just through their everyday decision making, Lawrence Bloom is the person you want to hear. So those are some amazing things that are coming around the corner. Last but not least, I want to talk to you all about something that I won't be in town for, but I really hope many of you will look up. And that is the Poor People's Campaign. As many of you know, I've been a big proponent of human rights and have wanted a lot more involvement in how to stand up and unify different groups that I've worked with, whether it's LGBT, Latino, Black Lives Matter, women's rights, also the environment, a way to acknowledge that the environment is directly affecting the poorest people, because frankly, when there's waste, it gets dumped in their backyards. Quite often it's either through contaminated water, soil, just basically our trash. So a lot of times that whole discussion connecting the environment to human rights really gets omitted. But I was so blown away how Reverend William Barber went directly to that and added that as a fifth pillar to what MLK had already established at the Poor People's Campaign long ago. So what they're doing truly takes my breath away, because they're going to the heart of the matter and recognizing that what we're dealing with here in the United States is beyond race, it's beyond culture, it's beyond all these various things, and it really gets to the heart of what is our morality. How do we define our ethics as a nation? Because that is the heart and center of where everything else must stream from. If you're into spiral dynamics, you'll know exactly what I mean by healthy blue. But that is what he's doing. And so it really pulled me in when I heard about a movement for a moral revival, because we need that across our nation to try and help unify us as Americans and to help us move forward to becoming what I always like to call conscious culture creators, people who are consciously aware of how we're creating the world around us. So if you want to understand how you can become involved, combine so many different movements into one, and it's not taking away from any individual movement. It's actually looking to lift and empower every one of those individual concerns. So it's not competing with anything that's already existing, and that's very important. Instead, it's trying to help make a dialogue occur within our nation about, okay, instead of getting all riled up because my friends are conservative, I'm progressive, and we think blah, 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 where can we come to an agreement on what our shared ethics and moral base is? And I think that is someplace that is going to help really change things. And it's going to call for a lot of demonstrations. It's going to call for some very tough things where people are willing to put themselves on the line. And if you want to have the training to do that, then I really suggest you reach out to the Poor People's Campaign, find out where that training is occurring in a place near you, which is occurring on the 14th. That's why, unfortunately, I won't be here in Dallas to do it here, since I'll be speaking up in New York at that time. However, there is training here, and I can't tell you enough how profoundly I've seen a change just in our director at the Mimsy Institute, Coke Buchanan, who underwent this training in Nashville. And I can't wait to eventually have access and have the training myself, and I know that it would be something that will empower many of you out there that follow me. So anyway, those are the things that are coming up all in 1 week. Oh my goodness. But I can't wait to hear what some of you think who go to any of these things, whether it's Crenshaw Stone's The Source of Hope celebration of her 5 years, and getting to hear Marva Hanks talk about, the servant's heart, me talk about hope, whether it's going up to New York and talking about how women in powerful positions in business can help change the tone and tenor of the world and help bring about a greater sense of ethics and morality as we try and navigate ourselves through changing the tone of business and how business is done, whether it is going and hearing Lawrence Bloom talk about the environment and how each one of us plays a vital role in that, or where I will be speaking as well, or whether it is attending the Poor People's Campaign and learning how you can train yourself to be an advocate with that much more of an empowered voice and that much more capable of trying to make the differences you want to see in your backyard. All of these things are happening this weekend. So, wow, I can't wait to see some of you there. And if you happen to go to the Poor People's Campaign, I can't wait to hear those of you that went. And I hope to get to greet many of you in person, whether it's here in Dallas or up in New York, and to hear what you're doing in your lives, because I know that no one person does any of this alone. It takes all of us. So looking forward to talk to you soon. Bye.